Dolly Parton never hides behind rumor. She's faced all rumors gentle and funny. The feeling was different this time. In late 2025, after months of cancellations and internet outrage, the country star decided time to speak up. Her fans wanted reassurance. What they got, her closest supporters were surprised by the revelation. For years, Dolly had a double life, a private reality she kept from the public. After 30 years of silence, she was ready to speak the truth. Little girl with high dreams. The Dolly Parton story began in 1946 in rural Tennessee's Locust Ridge. Her parents were barely out of childhood. Her father was 15 and her mother married at 17 and started a family early. They had 12 children total. So Dolly grew up with 11 siblings in one small home in the Smokies. It was a life of love, laughter, and unity. Plenty of trouble. Dolly told journalist Larry Global about her family's poverty. Truly was. Staying clean was hard. She said we bathed weekly, whether we needed to it or not. Despite her challenges, Dolly often talked about her childhood. Deeply affectionate. She wrote on guideposts that while life in the Smokies was difficult, it taught her family to maximize their resources. Resourcefulness was more than a skill. They survived. Every day was about attempting to improve things slightly. She said it was where her determination and charm came from. Was born. Tennessee's frigid winters were different. Even although the South doesn't have harsh winters, poverty made them worse. In the guidepost essay, Dolly remembered her birth. It was so cold in their one-room cottage. A tiny layer of ice formed on the kitchen floor when her mother mopped. That cold slipped in everything. She talked about how as a child, she didn't mind her siblings wetting the bed. It was the sole source warmth during cold evenings. That may sound crazy, but Dolly and her siblings lived it. Because the cabin was often as chilly as outdoors, they cuddled and slept in layers. Growing up in that vast family, Dolly learned early that her voice was her finest tool for standing out. Exactly when Cher's mother recognized something remarkable when she started singing and playing guitar. Whenever guests arrived, her mom would gladly request Dolly sing one of her songs. Music became her means to shine in a noisy home. Despite hardships, her parents loved and cared for them. Dolly's music was shaped by the warmth and struggle. She has remarked that her experiences in her mountain home shaped her songs, strength, her unstoppable drive. Dolly knew she was meant for more when she could sing. She may have begun in a Tennessee cabin, but she always believed her voice should reach beyond besides those mountains. Dolly Parton showed promise at age 5. Early hints of her superstardom. Dolly wrote while other kids her age were learning ABCs, her first song on her family's front porch. Her mic wasn't a tin can, and her audience included hens, goats, and the occasional domestic pet. From the early on, her music came from the heart and the soil of her Tennessee home. When she was 6, she was singing in the church choir and performing every Sunday. Not all of Dolly's childhood was happy. It had wild tales that could fill a book. Movie. One of the most shocking occurred when she was 6 or 7. In an interview years later, she said she jumped over a fence and hit a broken mason jar, cutting off 3 of her right toes practically completely. There was no close hospital or doctor to call. Her mother did what was necessary, sewed Dolly's toes to herself. Kerosene was their only painkiller. Against all odds, Dolly recovered perfectly and laughed about her toes that healed well. One of the moments that showed her toughness and fortitude. Ever since childhood, Uncle Bill Owens gave Dolly a gift at 8 years old that transformed her life. Everything. A guitar. That simple act ignited her. Bill began mentoring her and taking her to Nashville to witness grand old Opry artists. The early trips Dolly taught her country music from the front row and showed her where she was wished to. She started auditioning for talent shows at 10, but she left every room she sang and excited. That confidence soon was invited to perform on the Cass Walker Show and earned $5 that a young Locust Ridge girl appears to receive a tiny fortune. By 12, Dolly was ready for the next major step. Recording Puppy, her debut single Love. The Louisiana studio was difficult to reach. Without automobile and with little money, Dolly and her grandma bought long-distance bus tickets south. They got lost to their first stop, overnight in a strange place. Dolly later recalled her grandmother crying in the bus station. Afraid and exhausted, she tried to console her. They reached the studio after several days of travel. Her professional career began when Dolly recorded her first song. 1 year later, Dolly was 13 that accomplished what most country performers strive for their entire life. Her grand Old Opry performance. Johnny Cash, her idol, introduced her to the audience that night. Dolly started with George Jones' cover. When the throng requested more, she gave 3 anchors, including her own tune. They couldn't get enough. For a small-town teen girl, it was a defining moment. Her country music debut. Dolly would later say that seeing Johnny Cash perform for the first time changed her. As she explained being captivated by his theatrical persona, saying he was the first to make her to recognize charisma and sex appeal. Though there was Cash inspired and befriended them without a romantic attachment. Those initial meetings with him, the Opry's bright lights and crowd scream, shaped Dolly Parton. She was meant to be unstoppable. Private relationship that withstood fame. Dolly Parton met her life partner, Carl Dean, in one of what may seem like random encounters, laundromat, the most mundane location. Her first day in Nashville. She completed high school the night before, leaving 2 left her lovers in Tennessee and didn't consider romance. But fate had other ideas, as usual. Carl saw her first, and according to Love at first sight for him. He knew she was the one when he saw her wife he would marry. Dolly, a newcomer to the city, felt a spark while doing her laundry. Carl visited her aunt and uncle's house every day she was staying there that week. Dolly later revealed that she had rushed to Nashville with little time, lugging a mound of Funklian clothes. Carl contacted her from his pickup truck as she explored her new area. As a pleasant rural girl, she waved back and left. A basic hello became a lasting romance. At first, Dolly was hesitant. Growing up, she was instructed not to go alone with strangers. Instead of dating, she babysat her nephew while Carl visited her relatives. Carl became her constant once she agreed. Their bond blossomed quickly, and Carl brought her to his parents on their first date. A risky action, but Dolly seemed unfazed. By 1966, as Dolly's career took off, her manager, Fred Foster, didn't like her marriage plans. Wedding could hinder her professional promotion, he said. More challenging. But Dolly, obstinate and talented, didn't halt her. She married Carl in a private ceremony on May 30, 1966, at a modest church outside Nashville with only her mother, the pastor, and his wife as witnesses. An informal ceremony set the tone for their quiet marriage. Soon Dolly released Hello, I'm Dolly, her debut album. After their wedding, that made her a country music sensation. Carl remained in the background during his stardom, avoiding public attention, only appearing with Dolly at a 1966 BMI dinner but applauding her early achievements. He was her quiet, joyful supporter to show off his wife. Around this time, Dolly's career took another big turn. Leap. She worked with country star Porter Wagner, who hosted the popular TV show Porter Wagner, that varied program. They started working together when Porter asked her to write songs for his female cast. Singer. Dolly was already a successful Nashville composer, selling her tunes to other artists wanting to succeed as performers. Actress Norma Jean left the show to Porter instantly considered Dolly for marriage. He liked her songwriting and growing presence on the local music scene. He requested her bring her to his office at Instrument and offered her Dolly's new girl singer position. It was the lifetime chance. Being on a nationally syndicated show, millions of viewers would hear her. She didn't debut smoothly. The audience loved the show's previous female singer, Norma Jean. Dolly's bright attitude and high-pitched voice contrasted. Dolly being Dolly, she transformed skeptics into supporters slowly. Audiences loved her duets with Porter, and soon they liked her solo performances too. A rough start became a turning moment. She was launched by the show into fame. Her success also led to one of her most agonizing career chapters. Behind-the-scenes tensions rose as Dolly's popularity grew. Porter, who had supported her, turned frustrated as she became the star. When he thought she should start her own job, attempted to stop. After that failed, he sued her for millions, starting a dispute that persisted for decades. Their connection difficult. By the early 1970s, they fought often. Creative clashes, shattered egos, teamwork was practically impossible due to competing goals. Porter snapped at Dolly when she left, publicly denouncing her in interviews. He mocked her for posing for Playboy, saying it wasn't something a genuine country singer. Dolly never replied. She stuck to she always claimed to be authentic, glamorous, daring, and unapologetic Dolly. Porter claimed treachery, even implying she was untrustworthy and would turn on her friends. But Dolly's long, loving marriage to Carl Dean was different. They were together before she met them, Porter, and were inseparable despite his fame avoidance. Loyal Dolly through and through. She refused to let anyone, not even Porter Wagner, govern her career. Porter said he fired her. Dolly resigned. The truth probably lies in between. Dolly had 7 years on the show by 1974, but simply outgrew her role. She sought sound and identity exploration, without Porter's shadow. She stayed longer than intended, partly because of loyalty and because she respected the show's platform. But when it was time, she knew to go. Dolly worked with Porter professionally for years after leaving. He even some of her biggest hits. However, Dolly's solo career took off. Jealousy grew as Porter's fame declined. Later, he sued her to nearly $3 million for failed contracts and reimbursement expensive presents he gave her during their relationship. Luxurious presents, jewels, clothes, even speculations that their relationship was more than business surrounded their personal items. Dolly, however, always denied infidelity. Carl was her husband at the time, and said her relationship with Porter was based on respect and gratitude, not romance. Still, chatter persisted. Back then, many assumed because hiring a young girl singer by a man must be suspicious. The Dolly case, however, relationship was more complicated than hearsay suggested. Dolly never gave up despite lawsuits and animosity. Porter's career contribution was forgotten. He was the first to trust her while others doubted. He gave her stage, exposure, and transformation into her true self. So, when Dolly paid him $1 million to settle their lawsuit, big sum then. Some said he shouldn't get paid, but Dolly did that due to respect and progress. Finally, Dolly shared one Dolly Parton and Carl Dean chose to reveal her deepest secret on their 50th wedding anniversary. Fantasy wedding they never had in 1966. Now, things were different. Dolly had fame, riches, and the potential to create a fairy tale she always desired. The extravagant event was full with love for the Carl got his chance to shine when fans saw the man who had won Dolly's heart decades earlier was hard. Dolly convinced her very private hubby Bypromise that all wedding photo sales would benefit charity. Carl agreed and posed excellent photos and a rare written communication to the public. In his message stated that it was love at first sight. After meeting Dolly, he knew he would marry. He quickly made it happen for her. Before that public presentation in 2016, although whispers circulated for years, some admirers thought Carl Dean wastingly a lie Dolly made up to safeguard her privacy. He was since rarely seen in public and rarely photographed with her. People suspected he was her fantasy. When Carl addressed Taste of Country, affirming their decades-long marriage and describing how he fell for her instantly, the myth was exposed at rest. Couple's unique arrangement, her spotlight life, his faraway life, it didn't bother them. It was essential to their happiness. Dolly flourished in the spotlight, whereas Carl enjoyed solitude. From the start, agreed to respect borders. Dolly often credits her mother for teaching her to keep a little of her life secret. And that lesson shaped her marriage. Dolly and Carl formed a relationship despite their vastly different worlds. Trust, freedom, and respect-based love. Carl never envied her. Dolly never changed his demand for calm and privacy despite popularity. Over time, she felt comfortable hiding him. She often stated her faith helped her understand that their love wasn't public. Because even if nobody saw, God could. Since his 2016 public debut, Carl has occasionally been seen on Dolly's social media. She shows him occasionally, especially on special occasions. Occasions like Valentine's. Their connection is primarily private. In interviews during their anniversary year, Dolly praised Carl for balancing her. She says they may not have much in common, but that's magic. Their distinctions persist. New, exciting, and surprising. Carl may not love her country music. He likes Led Zeppelin and bluegrass. His pride in her success has never wavered. Dolly joked he's only seeing her perform live twice hasn't upset her. A simple secret to a long marriage. Allow each other to be themselves. Carl prefers solitude. Dolly enjoys stage, and neither wants to change the other. Now, though Carl Dean's infidelity has never been a scandal, but Dolly Parton has admitted an innocent crush on Jennifer Aniston. She often makes fun of it, finding it funny rather than scary. Even with Dolly's fame and connections, Carl has never tried to use that admiration. I suppose it's a beautiful recollection that is true loyalty. Ironically, Dolly sung on Dumpling's soundtrack that a Netflix film starring Jennifer Aniston, but they never met. While Dolly and Carl, despite their differences, they bond over laughter and quirky humor. They both say humor is their secret weapon. When they quarrel, it doesn't take long before someone makes a joke and everything lightens up again. This routine may not work for everyone, but it's kept their relationship interesting and joyous. For despite her popularity and glitz, Dolly has always been a homebody. After many tours and concerts, she enjoys coming home to Carl for peaceful time, evenings together eating home-cooked meals or going to their favorite local restaurants where no one makes a reservation. Fuss. Camping is a great pastime. Once, Dolly bought her music profits bought Carl a luxury RV, which he loved. Not because luxury, but more adventures together, just the two of them. Even if they never had, Dolly enjoyed being Miley Cyrus' godmother. Over time, she and Carl prioritizes simplicity, seclusion, and time together over fame or spotlight. When not performing, Dolly tours with Carl, RVing cross-country or resting away from the cameras. Dolly and Carl avoid large gatherings whenever possible. Dolly is a party animal at work, but likes serenity at home, familiarity and authentic moments above celebrity events. What independence, not affection, kept their marriage strong. Dolly has always been forthright about how much time she and Carl spend apart, which has helped save their love. For them, absence makes love stronger. Their ability to live independently, follow their passions, and reconnect has kept them together, a vibrant relationship. Dolly and Carl managed by keeping their relationship discreet and giving each other space to create a rare show industry marriage based on love, respect, and fun. Viewed in 2019, devastating news changed everything. Dolly Parton's Carl Dean, husband of over 50, was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. It was that tremendous blow. His health declined rapidly over the next 2 years, and Dolly's focus switched from stage to soft daily life, caring for her ill husband. Dolly became Carl's full-time employee in early 2021, caregiver who rarely left him. Once on tour for months, she now spent her days in Nashville holding his hand and sang gently, cherishing their time remaining. His disease caused several painful complications: gallbladder difficulties, a diminishing appetite, and disorientation that occasionally frustrated. Once fiercely autonomous, Carl became mostly housebound. His mind and body weakened by illness. He struggled with high blood pressure before diagnosis, a cardiac condition. Alzheimer's exacerbated everything. Pandemic hit. More protective instincts developed in Dolly. Fearing an infection would kill Carl's delicate health, she dramatically cut household staff and family visits. Those who knowing the pair stated she would protect him at all costs. It was excruciating with loneliness, love, and the silent pain of losing her longtime love. In March, Carl Dean died quietly at home in 2025 after years of illness. Nashville. His age was 82. Dolly broke the news sentimentally, a statement on social media requesting privacy during her family's grief. She expressed gratitude for their 60 years of love in her statement that prayers sent her way. Carl was buried privately. His wish was to have just close family come. A few days later, Dolly thanked her fans again, thanking everyone for their thoughtfulness. She said she found consolation in their love and support amid her sadness. She acknowledged the loss was great unpleasant. She took comfort in Carl's escape. She claimed sensed his presence daily and knew he was in God's arms. Dolly opened up about her bereavement in subsequent months. In an independent interview, she said although part of her was happy Carl was pain-free and lonely persisted. She worked through her pain to honor him and keep him alive. Whatever she did. She often thought about Carl's unwavering pride in her career. He admired her passion and told her she was born to be a star for performing while preferring a peaceful life. These words now serve her drive to shine for both. In June 2025, Dolly celebrated their 59th wedding anniversary in a touching way a few months after his death. Own way. She returned to the modest Tennessee chapel where they married in 1966, standing on their love story's first steps. It was her first anniversary without him, even though she felt his soul alongside her when alone. Dolly Parton often credits faith for her strength. She believes she will see Carl again. Until then, she honors him with music, love, and the gentle devotion that distinguished their nearly 60-year marriage. Dolly Parton reveals her double life after 30 years. In late country music enthusiasts worldwide were surprised in September 2025. The icon Dolly Parton announced something surprising. Few weeks before her 80th birthday, Dolly opened up on Instagram about her health, saying she'd been having some medical issues, and require surgeries. She also postponed her highly anticipated Las Vegas residency, claiming she wanted to be her best for fans. A maneuver that won her more respect from decades-long fans who valued her honesty. Not an isolated issue, though. Dolly's health issues had been simmering. Earlier that month, she missed Dollywood, her favorite Tennessee theme park. Instead, she sent a touching video message saying physicians advised her not to travel due to a kidney stone. One of them fans learned that even legends have boundaries. Poor health also plagues her that compelled her to miss crucial events. She was to receive the Jean Herschel Humanitarian Award from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences honored her lifespan. Charity, but her sickness forced her to miss the ceremony. If that wasn't heartbreak, after losing her 60-year-old husband Carl Dean in March, Dolly had a difficult year. And after Frida died in early October, Dolly's safety was questioned and asked fans to pray for her online. The post spread fast throughout social media, raising concerns about Dolly's health. However, just hours later, Frida confirmed that she hadn't intended to scare anyone. Dolly was not well, and as such a devout woman, Frida believed in prayer. Later, Stella, their other sister, agreed to reassurance that Dolly was fine despite kidney stone treatment. Then Dolly corrected the record on Instagram on October 8th, as she looked like herself in a glittering country western dress while filming Grand Ole Opry advertisements. Vivid self. She humorously asked people not to trust reports. Do I appear unwell to you? And thanking everyone for their prayers and concern. She said doctors suggested she finally get healthy after caring for her late husband and ignoring herself that address certain outstanding concerns. The treatments were routine, she said, visits near Vanderbilt Medical Center. Most importantly, she promised she assured everyone she was alive and would continue to move forward. Like Dolly, she even found some viral AI-generated rumors, funny online images of her on her deathbed with Reba McEntire were fake. She laughed and joked that Reba wouldn't be sitting there if she were dying up beside her. Dolly wanted her followers to hear one thing loudly beneath the jokes, and evident. She was okay. She ended by claiming she wasn't ready, claiming God still had job for her. She refused to leave the plan to continue. This moment was recognizable to longtime fans. Dolly has always been honest about her cosmetic operations, yet she once hid her major health issues. Her life was impacted by a tragic diagnosis in her 30s. While she developed terrible stomach pain while trying to conceive various signs of endometriosis. In 1982, things became worse when she fainted on stage and was run to hospital. Her internal bleeding was discovered by doctors that a partial hysterectomy destroyed her ambitions of having children. She was young. 36. Emotionally devastating consequences. That time was one she described. Her saddest period was marred by depression and grief. But as Dolly has overcome darkness with faith, humor, and persistence many times, the resilient spirit she carries now refuses to let age, pain, and tales dull her. Although she faces new health issues, Dolly Parton stays unstoppable. Smart, brave, and grateful. She shows that a little can go far even when life throws you a curveball. Faith, laughter, and rhinestones can carry you.